And our next contender, please. And your name is?
Laura Campbell.
Your occupation?
I'm a graduate student.
And your chosen subject?
The fiction of HP Lovecraft.
H.P. Lovecraft it is. What name is given to the mythology or mythos which is the background to many of H.P. Lovecraft's stories, including the Dunwich Horror and the Thing on the Doorstep?
The Call of Cthulhu.
Yes. In his last year at school, Charles Dexter Ward had become occupied with finding the grave of which of his ancestors?
Joseph Curwen.
Correct. Which story first appeared in Weird Tales in May 1924 and was ghostwritten by Lovecraft for the escapologist Harry Houdini?
Under the Pyramids.
Imprisoned with the Pharaohs, but I'll accept Under the Pyramids. What is the name of the wizard on the planet Yadith who realizes that Randolph Carter is another facet of himself?
Dacorba.
Yes. The Haunter of the Dark is dedicated to which writer?
Robert Bloch.
Yes, in a postscript to his letter to Dr. Willett in 28, Charles Dexter Ward urges him to shoot Dr. Allen on sight and do what with his body?
Dissolve it in acid.
Yes, what phrase does Joel Manton use to describe the horror that attacked him and Carter in a story of the same title?
Ye liveliest awfulness.
The Unnameable, referred to in many of the stories, which unmentionable and monstrous book of which there's a forbidden Latin translation by Olaus Wormius was written by the Arab Abdul al-Hazred?
The Necronomicon.
Yes, what name do the locals give to the site of Gardner's Farm after its destruction by the colour out of space?
Pass.
Which ancient New England town, where many of the stories are set, is the home of the Miskatonic University?
Arkham.
Correct. What's the name of the old German musician who plays strange music on his viol in the Rue d'Orsay?
Eric Zahn.
Correct. In The Nameless City, the narrator repeatedly chants the phrase, the unreverberate blackness of the abyss, which was taken from a tale by which English writer who greatly influenced Lovecraft?
Dunsany.
Yes. What name is given in the Necronomicon to the normally shapeless, viscous masses created as slaves by the old ones?
Shoggoth.
Yes, what had been done to nearly all of the bodies in Christchurch Cemetery which made them useless for Herbert West's experiments in reanimation?
They'd been beheaded.
They'd been embalmed. What name do the people of Arkham give to the furry, sharp-toothed, nuzzling creature that serves as Keziah Mason's familiar?
Brown Jenkin.
Yes, in the Dunwich Horror, old Whately exclaims, "They get in ready to catch my soul," as large numbers of which birds gather around his house?
Whippoorwill.
Whippoorwills it was, and you passed on one question. The Blasted Heath is the name locals give to that site of Gardner's Farm. One pass, Laura Campbell, 13 points. People may not be familiar with him, but a strange man in lots of ways, wasn't he? You wrote horror.
Chap, yes, as a 20s horror writer. Had a style of sort of existentialist science fiction horror, really.
Crumbs, that takes a bit of getting your head around. Existentialist horror, right. But horror of the, what, the kind of Stephen King sort, or a bit more thoughtful than that?
I have to say, the Cthulhu mythos in particular was something almost entirely original. He was an atheist, you see. He wanted to write horror stories that would frighten an atheist, someone who doesn't believe in devils or ghosts or an afterlife. And so he turned to science fiction to create these creatures.
Whom he never described, which he never described, and they were...
He did occasional bits of description, but they're mostly a sort of very vague sketch which lets the reader fill in all the details, as horrible as...
kind of
unspeakable
exactly and unmentionable and all that sort of
unspeakable,
stuff.
Unmentionable, unnameable, your liveliest awfulness.
Yeah. Daft question this may be, but do you read this sort of stuff for pleasure?
I think there's something quite cathartic about being quite thoroughly freaked out. To have the adrenaline rush with the knowledge that these things safely confined to the book. You close the book, you put it away. Not real.
You have 13 points, along with lots of other people tonight. Let's see how you do with general knowledge. Here we go. Jason Donovan's hit single Any Dream Will Do came from which musical which he starred in at the London Palladium in 1991?
Joseph and the Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat.
Yes, a plant or animal described as hirsute is covered in what?
Hair.
Yes, which Italian city hosted the 2006 Winter Olympic Games?
Milan.
Turin. At which battle that took place 3 days before William the Conqueror landed at Pevensey in 1066 did Harold II defeat an army which included his brother Tostig?
Stamford Bridge.
Yes, in music, which sign when placed next to a note lowers its pitch by a semitone?
Flat.
Yes. St. Perrin, whose day is celebrated on March the 5th, is commemorated in the names of several towns in which county of which he is the patron saint?
Rutland.
Cornwall. In England, which organisations were banned or restricted by the Combination Acts of 1799, 1800 and 1825?
Trade unions.
Yes, whose portrait appeared on the reverse of the £5 note, which was legal tender between November 1971 and November 91?
Stevenson.
Wellington. Which metallic element was once used in luminous paint along with zinc sulfide to cause it to glow in the dark?
Radium.
Yes, in the television comedy The Office, what's the name of the paper merchants where David Brent works?
Pass.
The Great Barrier Reef extends to some 1,250 miles off the northeastern coast of which Australian state?
Queensland.
Yes. Velasquez's only surviving female nude painting, The Toilet of Venus, is commonly known by what name after the house in Yorkshire where its former owners lived?
The Rokeby Venus.
Yes, by what name from the Quechua language is the cougar or mountain lion more generally known?
Puma.
Yes. In Act 1 of which opera do Marceline, Giacchino, Leonora and Rocco sing the quartet Mir ist so wunderbar?
The Magic Flute.
Fidelio. The name of which fruit related to the cranberry and blueberry did Mark Twain give to the hero as one of his books?
Huckleberry.
Yes, which member of the Monty Python team plays a ghost called Nearly Headless Nick in the Harry Potter films?
John Cleese.
Yes, the official language of which country has two forms, Bokmal and Ninorsk?
Pass.
Which character in Romeo and Juliet does Lord Capulet address as Angelica?
Juliet.
No, Juliet's nurse. Two passes. Those languages, Bokmal and Ninorsk, come from Norway, and it is Wernham Hogg, the name of the paper merchants in The Office. Two passes, but Laura Campbell, 24 points.